حبيب الله رسول الله حبيب الله. Allah, our God, is the greatest, the one and only glory to Him. He wanted humans to be the best and give His best religion to them. Allah, our God, is the greatest, the one and only glory to Him. He wanted humans to be the best and give His best religion to them.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome to an episode number 165 in the series of Gardens of the Pious. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyyihi wa Mustafa Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah wa ba'd. Today inshallah we'll continue in the second episode in chapter number 40, which is pertaining to being dutiful to one's parents and the command of upholding the ties of kinship. We studied the ayat of Surah Al-Nisa, the ayat of Surah Al-Ra'd, the ayah of Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah number 8, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حُسْنًا. And we started in the last episode with the two verses of Surah Al-Isra 23 and 24, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. If we can open the Quran and we look into the two commands, the one in Surah Al-Isra versus the one which we studied in the previous episode in Surah Al-Ankabut, we realize that in one ayah of Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah number 8, Allah the Almighty says, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حُسْنًا. While in Surah Al-Ahqaf and in Surah Al-Isra, Allah the Almighty says, إِحْسَانًا. Surah Al-Ahqaf, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ إِحْسَانًا. In Surah Al-Ankabut, حُسْنًا. What is the difference between Al-Husn and Al-Ihsan? And why Allah the Almighty used two different terms? First of all, these terms are relating to each other. So Al-Ihsan, which is goodness, kindness, and righteousness, is derived from its source, which is Al-Husn. So Al-Husn is the source of goodness. Why did Allah the Almighty use the magnified term of goodness, which is Al-Husn, the source of all goodness, which is Al-Husn? He used it in the ayah of Surah Al-Ankabut, while he used in Surah Al-Ahqaf Al-Ihsan, and in Surah Al-Isra Al-Ihsan. When we look into the ayah of Surah Al-Ankabut, we read the following, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حُسْنًا. What is the following phrase? وَإِنْ جَاهَدَاكَ لِتُشْرِكَ بِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا. So Allah the Almighty ordered a greater husn, a greater kindness, and put a lot of emphasis on the kind treatment to the parents, even if they are non-believers. And not only that they are non-believers, but furthermore, they are struggling with their children to convert them to disbelief. Obviously, this is something very common, not only in the past 1400 years ago, and the stories which happened during the life of the Prophet ﷺ in the early stages of the da'wah, such as the story of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas with his mother, but also as we're speaking today. Many sisters who accept Islam and they changed. They quit drinking, they don't have boyfriends anymore, they quit smoking, and they are righteous. They pray, she wears hijab, she takes care of her family, she does not spend in anything that is haram. So that's supposed to please the family, the parents. Yet the parents are very upset because their daughter become Muslim. And they keep putting pressure on her. So she migrates, she makes hijrah, she tries to live and work and learn in a Muslim society. And whenever she visits them, because she is obliged to be kind to them and treat them with al-husn, which is even greater than ihsan. Al-husn is the source, is the masdar of al-ihsan. She complains to me. She's not only one or two, there are many. During these couple weeks which she stays with them, with the parents, they try their utmost to make her take the hijab off. They try to convince her this is a terrorist religion and Muslims are terrorists, and we're afraid that you will go astray and you will become a terrorist. Despite that, she's become much better in treating them. Before, she was like an average American girl or European girl. And as you know that very few people really respect their parents, take care of them when they get old, and send them money. They make money and they send them money. But even though she's doing all of that, the parents are struggling with her to convert her to disbelief, to take her out of Islam. If she decided to be an atheist, they would celebrate that. She's free to do whatever she wants to do. If she goes home and she says, guess what? I'm not straight anymore, I'm gay, I'm lesbian. No problem, that's her choice. I met some families like that. Only when she says, I've accepted Islam, when the son says, I've become a Muslim, this is when it becomes very problematic. So it is very much expected, because of the tremendous pressure that is put on the son or the daughter, that they neglect their parents altogether. And they say, I have an excuse. I don't even to talk to them because they're kuffar. And because they are doing their best and putting pressure on me in order to convert me or hinder me from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they find this as an excuse to sever their relations with their parents. Allah the Almighty says, no, you cannot do that. So if with Muslim parents, with righteous parents, He says, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ إِحْسَانًا. With the parents who are struggling with their children to convert them to disbelief after Allah have guided them, He uses a greater form of goodness, which is al-husn, which is the source of goodness. Al-husn is the source of al-ihsan. These linguistic hints in the Quran requires us to understand the Arabic language, or at least somebody who understands the Arabic language to explain to us what is the masdar, what is the root word, what is the difference between this word and that word, and what are the different dialects, ضعفا and ضعفا, كرها and kurha, as we will be reading insha'Allah Azza Jal in the ayat to come. وَإِنْ جَاهَدَاكَ لِتُشْرِكَ بِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا. That is the only area which you are not allowed to obey them in. Obeying them in anything which will require you to comprise your relationship with Allah, with your belief. إِلَيَّ مَرْجِعُكُمْ فَأُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. Unto me is your return, you and them, believers and non-believers, all the living creatures shall return back to Allah. Then He shall inform them with what they used to do, whatever is good and whatever is bad. But in regular conditions, such as in the ayah of Surah Al-Isra, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. The word qada means ordained and made it mandatory. Qada, it's a fard. Being good to one's parents is not merely recommended, isn't optional, isn't whenever you have a chance. It's a duty that the children owe to their parents. As much as they owe Allah belief, worship, and obedience. So that's why they were joined together in the same segment, as they were joined together in the ayah of Surah An-Nisa, ayah number 36. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. That is in Surah Al-Isra, number 23. وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. That is in ayah number 36 of chapter number 4. Look at the link. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. Tawheed, monotheism. And if you truly believe in Allah, then you have to understand that also Allah qada, ordained, that's a command, that's a fard, to be good to your parents, to be obedient to the parents, to be dutiful to your parents. Does the term parents apply to the biological parents or the person who was the reason for your existence? Or is it much broader than that, so it covers those who actually raised you? You know, somebody was born as an orphan or lost one or both his parents at an early age. He says, Alhamdulillah, I don't have to worry about the duty of birrul walidain or being good to my parents because they're dead. La. Nay, that applies also to those who brought you up, to those who raised you, because they spend their life in fashioning you, shaping your future, feeding you, educating you, so they have those rights upon you. You have to be kind to them. Where did we have this understanding from? Because some people think the command of being good to the parents is over once one's parents die. In the hadith, a man came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, O Prophet of Allah, my parents are already dead. He used to be dutiful to them during their lives. Now they're dead. Is there anything remaining as far as serving them, being dutiful to them, that I can do even after their death? The Prophet ﷺ said, certainly, أَرْبَعُ خِصَالٍ. There are 4 qualities and 4 duties that you have to continue to do and perform even after your parents' death in order to be dutiful to them. Subhanallah. This is really amazing. When we know that some people wish that their elder parents or parent who is senile and have chronic diseases, and they are giving them a hard time moving from one hospital to another, they don't have insurance and they have to support them financially and buy them medication. So what do? They say, oh Allah, make it easy for them. And He means by that, oh Allah, take their souls, give them some comfort. And if you look at the same person when he was young, when he was a baby, then he has a flu, or he has diabetes, or he has a heart problem, congenital heart problem, and the father works double time, extra shifts, and overtime. Why? In order to save some money for the treatment. And the mother does not sleep in her bed. She takes care of the baby who's sick. And as long as he's awake all night, she's awake next to him. She doesn't say, oh Allah, take him so that he can say, he can have some rest. No. She and he, the parents, both of them, are working hard to treat their child, and meanwhile they are praying that Allah the Almighty will make him recover, will make him better, and would live to even outlive them. As the same child grows up, those who do not behave properly towards their parents, even if they are taking care of them, but they wish that Allah will make it short for them. And they say, my intention is good, I just want Allah to give them rest because they're suffering. It's none of your business. Imagine that their presence around you, as long as they are living, this is a source of blessing for you. A single dua that they make for you that Allah answers changes your life. A blessing in your provision, a blessing in your work, a blessing in your children. And when your children observe how you treat your parents, they earn these qualities, and they automatically treat you the same when you grow old. There was one person who had his older father living with him, and he was very sick, but his wife did not like his father, did not like serving him, and she wanted to get rid of him. So every once in a while she would say, take him to your sister. Kick him out. Put him in a nursing home. And finally he was convinced that he has to get rid of his father because of the pressure that his wife was putting on him. And he loved his wife, his pretty wife, so much that he finally complied with her wish. And since he doesn't know what to do, he took his own father in the building which was provided to him by his father. That's his wealth. And he contemplated a devilish idea, just to push him from the fence upstairs, so when he falls down, it would look like it was an accident. As the father realized that his son is planning to get rid of him, he said, "Son, if you have to do it, then please take me to this corner and push me from there." The son said, "Why do you say that? Why do you think that I'm planning to do something bad to you or hurt you?" He said, "Because this is what I did exactly to my father, and I pushed him and he fell down from this corner." So كما تدين تدان. If you hurt your parents, if you speak to them in an awful way, with disrespect, if you scream and shout at them, then expect your children to treat you the same, because this is what you've done to your parents. If you're kind and if you're generous to your parents, then expect that your children will treat you the same way. And this is not a single story or two or three or a couple or 10. This is typical. This happens all the time. All the time. The same way you treat your parents, your children will treat you. When I look into all the ayat, how many ayat that we studied so far about being dutiful to one's parents in the Quran? There are many. But how many ayat in which Allah the Almighty ordered the parents to be kind to their children, to be dutiful to their children, to love their children? None. How come? Simply because the person in this life undergoes two circumstances. The first is what is natural, what is desirable. And the second, facing the commands, whether the commands of God if he's a believer of his religion, or the commands of law and order, even if he is not a believer. So it is natural that the parents love their children. It is natural that the person works hard and works extra time so that he can secure a bright future for their children. He may skip a vacation, he may skip some fun. Why? Because he wants to save up for the future of his child or his children. And the mother, while being pregnant, she desires certain types of food, but she has pregnancy diabetes. She cannot eat this because she's worried about the fetus. She cannot drink that. She's worried about the fetus. She has a headache or migraine. She needs the medication badly. I have to look into the prescription. That's not safe in the first trimester, nor in the second. The doctor says nothing is safe during pregnancy as far as medication. So she instead ties a bandana, or she drinks coffee or tea, or she's trying her best to avoid taking medication, and she's bearing the pain, even though she's sick and she's suffering. Why? To make certain that the baby will be safe and sound. He's not even born yet. This is called natural, tabai. Even animals would do that. This is simply because of the mercy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descended so that living creatures have on their babies, on their children. In the Hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah has created mercy and He divided it into 100 portions. 99% of His mercy He saved in order to deliver and grant the believers on the Day of Judgment. And out of this 1%, one portion of 100 portions of His mercy, He descended on earth We have mercy on each other. The parents love their children. Even the wild animals. If you watch some National Geography programs and you see how the lions and the wild animals treat their babies, protect them. They devour others, but when it comes to their babies, they're very protective. This is because of this one portion of Allah's mercy. So this is natural in the hearts of the parents to love their children, to be protective, to be guarding and guiding them, to put them in the best schools and even save from their meals, to avoid things that they like to do, and it is permissible because, you know what, let me save it for my children. This is a quality of parenthood. The parents naturally do that. Obviously, there are odd cases, and there are people who are sick. Those who may throw their children away or be harsh to them, this is sick. But we're talking about the ordinary cases and the norms. On the other hand, being dutiful and loving and caring to the parents is taklifi, is a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if it is left without command, you can examine the non-Muslim societies, what happened to the parents as they grow old. You can look into the nursing homes. You can look into those who die in their flats or their houses, and nobody knows about them. Nobody knows about their suffering. Well, they have their Medicaid. They can go to the hospital. And the children rarely care about the parents. So that's why it needed a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this command is linked to the matter of belief. وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حُسْنًا وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ إِحْسَانًا. Many ayat in this regard. That is taklifi. Even if it goes against your desire, even if the parents are awful to you or any form, and you have to understand that as a person grows older, they develop a bad temper, and they become demanding, and they become less patient, and they get sick a lot, and very frequently, and you have to bear patiently with all their needs, with a smile, cheerful smile, with joy and happiness, because through serving them, that is your easy path to Al-Jannah. After the break, inshallah, I will share with you a very important point with regards to being dutiful to one's parents. Please stay tuned.
رسول الله حبيب الله رسول الله حبيب الله
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wherever you may be around the world, may the peace of ever-compelling Creator be unto all of you. To our Muslim brothers and sisters in faith, and likewise non-Muslims around the world, we bring into you, wherever you may be, the unique signs that Prophet, peace of Almighty Allah, Muhammad be upon him, taught the whole world. Oftentimes, we see some people reciting Quran over and over, but they, however, reciting it differently. People sometimes confuse, why is that? Why they doing that? Why this Imam reciting this way and this reciting differently? And what is the meaning of the Hadith? Quran has been revealed based on 7 methods. Do you know the depth of it? Do you know the real meaning of it? If you don't know, for the first time over there and here in Al-Huda TV, we're presenting to you. So be with us. I will be your host, Ukasha Kameni, step by step until you grasp all the information why we have 7 methods of recitation of Quran. Remain blessed. May Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and your family. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto all of you.
Ramadan, welcome holy month Ramadan.
حبيب الله رسول الله حبيب الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Before the break, I said we need to discuss a very important point with regards to being good and dutiful to one's parents. Do we do that with the intention of, hey, I rather be good to my parents so that my children will be good to me, and being afraid that if I mistreat them, I will be mistreated whenever I grow old? That's a reason. But this is a very selfish reason. It is. This is similar to when Allah the Almighty said about the message of all the prophets, Bashiran wa Nadira. In the Quran, Bashiran wa Nadira, to give glad tidings and as a warner. So some people would be affected more with the warning. It will hinder them from disobeying Allah, from doing what is bad. And some people, whenever Allah the Almighty tells them about the glad tidings, about what He has prepared for them, that is more than enough as a motive to do what pleases Allah, to stay away from anything that displeases Allah. And there are some people who would simply do that because who is the source of the command? Who ordered me to do that? That is my most beloved, that is Allah the Almighty, that's it. No further discussion. Allah wants me to do that. So imagine a combination of this command is from Allah, from my most beloved. Number two, it is a command of something that I love to do, because people with good hearts, naturally, they love their parents and they love to sacrifice their lives, not just their time, their wealth and their health for their parents. No. If one of the parents is in need for a kidney transplant, oh, check out my kidneys, check out if this is compatible. Can I donate one of my kidneys to my father, my sick mother? Yeah, they don't say, he's only 70. What is he going to do more with a kidney? That's more than enough. No. Wallahi, if it is in my hand to extend in his or life, if any, in the life of any of my parents, and to take from my lifespan, I would not hesitate to do it. This is the behavior of a true believer. He does not think about it from a materialistic point of view. It is enough to know that it is Allah who commanded that. And it is enough to remember how they brought you up when you were young. And that's why sometimes the ayat will give us some hints, as we will see inshaAllah in the following ayat. But I want to wrap up the two ayat of Surah Al-Isra 23 and 24. إما يبلغن عندك الكبر أحدهما أو كلاهما فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما. Which means, if one of them or both of them attain old age in your life, do not say to them a word of disrespect. And that word which is referred to in the Quran is the word uff. And uff is a term that expresses dissatisfaction, objection, and being upset. It is not really like a speech or a word, but it expresses your feeling of dissatisfaction. Uff. Then you blow air. This word is very offensive. Can you say that to your boss? Can you say, uff? You cannot say that. Can you say that to your employer? Can you say that to a high-ranking officer and you are working under him? Obviously not. Why? If it is not out of respect, then it is out of fear that you will be in trouble. Saying that word to your parents hurts their feeling, and it shows that you care not about them. You do not respect them. You do not love them. So this word, Allah the Almighty perceived it in the Quran as a major sin. If this word it puts the person in big trouble, what about what is more than that? Man, you're very demanding. I've done my part. I've done my best. Enough is enough. I can't take it anymore. Things like that, which expresses that you're not welcoming the parents or any of them at an old age in your place, in your life, refusing to assist them, you're not being patient with them anymore, and you're trying to put a stop to their demands and their requests. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, you and whatever you own are owned by your father, by your parent. They made you. They're the reason behind your existence. You know, all the wealth you made, the intelligence that you have, because you acquired a degree, you started a business, and you became very intelligent, they are the source. So you owe them all of that. So he, number one, forbade the saying of off. Then the action which may hurt their feeling, any action, wave on you, their hand. But you know, it's not only waving now. We read the news that people beat their parents, and people kill their parents to take away their wealth. Yeah, that happens, unfortunately. وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا, nor shout at them. Rather, وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. So there are two prohibitions with regards to the action, the saying, then the action. Then there are two commands with regards to the saying and the action. The saying, قُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Say to them a good saying. Address them with an honorable statement. They are not your children. They are not your junior. They are your parents. So you have to address them with kindness and choose the best words which will bring pleasure and happiness to their hearts. وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Say a noble and an honorable statement to them. وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. So the command of good saying and the command of good action, Allah the Almighty uses metaphor. جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. Lower unto them the wing of submission and humility through mercy. What does it mean? It means be humble to them. Treat them with humility. Always make them feel that they're superior, and make them feel that everything that you enjoy is because of them. Make them feel that you're not doing them any favor. Rather, you're just trying to pay back some of the countless favors that your parents have upon you. At this age, they're very sensitive. They're very sensitive. Any slight saying or action which shows that you're dissatisfied, or your wife or your children, would hurt their feeling. And you will grow big in their hearts. And they would wish to die before being disrespected with any of their children. We're talking about normal conditions, of course. So avoid any of that. Lower to them. You see how the bird lowers its wing to its chicks and babies? Lower your wing with humility and mercy to them. وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. And furthermore, constantly make dua for them. وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. You say that in your life, in their lives, and after their death. My Lord, bestow upon them your mercy, as they did bring me up when I was young, when I was little, when I was helpless. This dua, رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا, and also رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيَّ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَوْمَ يَقُومُ الْحِسَابِ. These are beautiful supplications prescribed in the Quran. رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. It reminds you that whatever you're doing is just paying back a little bit for countless favors that they have done to you. كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. My Lord, have mercy on them. Shower them with your mercy as they brought me up when I was young. So the Prophet ﷺ said to the companion who said that my parents are already dead. Do I still have to do anything to be dutiful to them? He said yes, 4 duties. Number 1, الصلاة عليهما والاستغفار لهما. To pray for them and to seek forgiveness for them, and especially after their death. This is when they need it most. That is my intention as a parent behind marrying a righteous woman, behind choosing a good spouse, so that we have good children, so we raise them properly, so that insha'Allah one day when I die, I do not actually die. I have an extension to my life. I have devout children, boys and girls, who remember me in their dua, who constantly make dua that may Allah have mercy on me, may Allah make my grave a garden of paradise, may Allah forgive me my sin. As in the athar, when the person is promoted in his grave and he sees a better place in heaven, he says, "Oh Allah, what for? What I have done?" Because when the person dies, there is no way that he can earn hasanat anymore, except from 3 ways, as the hadith of Muslim, may Allah have mercy on him, narrates. إِذَا مَاتَ الْعَبْدُ انْقَطَعَ عَمَلُهُ إِلَّا مِنْ 3. One of these ways is a righteous child who will pray for him. So Allah the Almighty will tell that person, your son, your daughter just made dua for you, and that's why you're promoted. Or Allah takes it easy on him on the accounting and reckoning, because of the barakah of the dua. My father-in-law was telling me when they visited a scholar at the time of death, and he was crying, and he was their colleague and he was a great scholar, so they did not expect a person with this kind of knowledge and righteousness to cry at the time of death. So they tried to give him some words of assurance, and Allah will bless you by the virtues of the Quran and the knowledge you taught. He said, "I'm not crying because I'm dying. I'm not crying because I'm afraid of death or because I'm going to miss this life." They looked into each other and said, "Why are you crying then?" He said, "I'm crying because I'm worried that if I die today, who will continue to make dua for my late father?" This is really amazing that this scholar, this sheikh, and this person, devoted his life to make dua for his father. So he's worried now, if I die today, who's going to carry on this mission after me? He's dying and he's worried about his parents, subhanallah. This is how much this person loved his parents, because he knows that loving his parents, especially they were believers, they brought them rightly, is actually a sign of loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا is a general command, exempt from that. If the parents or any of them died in a state of disbelief, Allah the Almighty says in the Quran, مَا كَانَ لِلنَّبِيِّ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن يَسْتَغْفِرُوا لِلْمُشْرِكِينَ وَلَوْ كَانُوا أُولِي قُرْبَى مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُمْ أَنَّهُمْ أَصْحَابُ الْجَحِيمِ. It is not permitted for the Prophet nor the believers to seek forgiveness for those who died in a state of disbelief, al-mushrikeen, وَلَوْ كَانُوا أُولِي قُرْبَى, even if they are related to them, including the parents, including the sons and daughters, the brothers and sisters, or the spouses. مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُمْ أَنَّهُمْ أَصْحَابُ الْجَحِيمِ, after it has become clear to them that they are amongst the dwellers of fire. And how do we know that any person have become from amongst Ashabul Jahim? If the person died in a state of disbelief. If the person does not say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, and they die not believing in Allah, in His oneness, and in the message of all the prophets, including Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then he died as an unbeliever. This is from an Islamic perspective. So Allah the Almighty forbade Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, again is seeking forgiveness for anyone who dies in a state of kufr, including relatives and parents. ما كان للنبي والذين آمنوا. Then he follows that by an explanation, because also in another ayah of the Quran, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam said to his non-believing father, who used to worship idols, when he invited him repeatedly to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he refused. He said, لَأَسْتَغْفِرَنَّ لَكَ وَمَا أَمْلِكُ لَكَ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. I promise I shall continue to seek forgiveness for you, but I cannot help you on aught against Allah the Almighty. I will do my best. So the following ayah says, وَمَا كَانَ اسْتِغْفَارُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ لِأَبِيهِ إِلَّا عَنْ مَوْعِدَةٍ وَعَدَهَا إِيَّاهُ فَلَمَّا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ أَنَّهُ عَدُوٌّ لِلَّهِ تَبَرَّأَ مِنْهُ إِنَّ إِبْرَاهِيمَ لَأَوَّاهٌ حَلِيمٌ. And as far as the behavior of Ibrahim alayhi salam when he used to seek forgiveness for his non-believing father, it was only because he promised him. When he said, لَأَسْتَغْفِرَنَّ لَكَ, I shall seek forgiveness for you. عَنْ مَوْعِدَةٍ وَعَدَهَا إِيَّاهُ, because of a promise that he promised him. But فَلَمَّا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ أَنَّهُ عَدُوٌّ لِلَّهِ تَبَرَّأَ مِنْهُ. When he realized that his father is an enemy to Allah, he disowned his own father. And when did he realize that his father is an enemy to Allah? He has been an enemy to Allah since the beginning. But it means here, when he died in a state of disbelief, he refused to believe in Allah. And who was the messenger? Who was the prophet? It was Ibrahim alayhi salam. So he was dutiful to him, and the Quran expresses how he used to give him da'wah. Remember the ayah of Surah Al-Isra when Allah the Almighty says, وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Address them with a noble statement. Talk to them nicely. Do not call them by their bare names. Hey Susan, how are you? This is your mom. Mike, what's up? This is your dad. Ibrahim alayhi salam addressed and used to address his non-believing father saying, Ya abati, Ya abati, repeatedly in the Quran whenever Ibrahim alayhi salam was calling upon his father to worship Allah or not to worship idols. Ya abati, لما تعبد ما لا يسمع ولا يبصر ولا يغني عنك شيئا. Why do you worship one who does not hear, does not see, and does not avail you on aught? Cannot help you by any means. Ya abati, ya abati. Ya abati is different than ya abi. Abi is my father. Ya abati is my beloved father. So he continued to do that. فَلَمَّا تَبَيَّنَ أَنَّهُ عَدُوٌّ لِلَّهِ, he disowned him. That's it. Why did he disown him? Because they do not have any relation anymore. Similar to when Nuh alayhi salam argued and interceded for his son before Allah, saying, قَالَ رَبِّ إِنَّ بْنِي مِنْ أَهْلِي. My son, he's from me. He's a family member. He's my own son. وَإِنَّ وَعْدَكَ الْحَقِّ. And your promise is the truth. What did Allah the Almighty say to Nuh alayhi salam when he wanted his son to be saved, even though he was a disbeliever? And he's been given da'wah for years, for centuries, and he rejected it. And when he saw death during the flood, he called upon him and said, Ya bunayya arkam ma'ana, come on board with us. No, he refused and said, don't worry about me. I'm going to take shelter in a high mountain to be saved. Ya bunayya la takum ma'al kafirin. And the father is calling his son with the perfect word, my beloved son, come with us, ride with us, get on board with us, do not be with the disbelievers. He said, no, سَآوِي إِلَى جَبَلٍ يَعْصِمُنِي مِنَ الْمَاءِ. While Nuh alayhi salam is trying to explain to his son, you don't understand. Today is not just a regular flood. This is a flood that would kill every non-believer. حَالَ بَيْنَهُمَا الْمَوْجُ فَكَانَ مِنَ الْمُغْرَقِينَ. A huge wave came up and it drowned him and others of the non-believers. Afterward, Nuh alayhi salam called upon Allah because he is his prophet. وَنَادَى نُوحٌ رَبَّهُ فَقَالَ رَبِّ إِنَّ بِنِي مِنْ أَهْلِي وَإِنَّ وَعْدَكَ الْحَقُّ وَأَنْتَ أَحْكَمُ الْحَاكِمِينَ. He's my son. You're the most wise of all the wise, the best judge of all the judges. Have mercy on my son. But he was even forbidden to call him his son anymore or to ask for forgiveness for him anymore. Because Allah the Almighty says, إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ مِنْ أَهْلِكَ يَا نُوحٍ إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ مِنْ أَهْلِكَ. He is not from your family anymore, because إِنَّهُ عَمَلٌ غَيْرُ صَالِحٍ فَلَا تَسْأَلْنِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ إِنِّي أَعِظُكَ أَن تَكُونَ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ. Allah warned Nuh alayhi salam, if you ever do it again, you're going to be one of the ignorant. I'm warning you. Then Nuh alayhi salam is worried about himself. قال رب إني أعوذ بك أن أسألك ما ليس لي به علم وإلا تغفر لي وترحمني أكن من الخاسرين. He sought refuge with Allah against sinning and against asking for things which he have no knowledge about. And he said, if you do not forgive me, if you do not have mercy on me, I would definitely be one of the losers. So the last couple ayat I tried to explain from Surah At-Tawbah and the ayat pertaining to the story of Nuh alayhi salam with his son, is to show us that the last segment of ayah number 24 of Surah Al-Isra, when Allah the Almighty commanded that we should make dua for our parents in their lives, then after their death, وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا, exempt from that is whenever any of the parents is a non-believer. So you're commanded to be good and dutiful to them no matter what happens. But if they still die in a state of disbelief and that is their choice, that's it. You cannot seek forgiveness for them anymore. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pardon us and forgive us our sins and guide us to what is best and guide our parents and have mercy on them. Give them good health and strength and make them happy in both this life and in the hereafter. And may Allah make our children and our offspring righteous and dutiful to us as we grow old, insha'Allah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
حبيب الله رسول الله حبيب الله Allah our God is the greatest, the one and only glory to him. He wanted humans to be the best and give his best religion to them. Allah our God is the greatest, the one and only glory to him. He wanted humans to be the best and give his best religion to them.
So why did they ignore that? Forgetting all about it in paradise, worshipping cows, fire and stones, selling the best with the cheapest price.
So why did they ignore that? Forgetting all about hell and paradise, worshipping cows, fire and stones, selling the best with the cheapest price.